Hello and welcome back to Model Kit Stuff, and today we're continuing our build of Airfix's 1350 scale Daring class destroyer or Type 45 destroyer, which I'm doing as HMS Dragon. And in the last video, if you remember, we'd been working on this centre section. We completed the main mast there, and we were started to put the etch railings on. So that's where I'm up to, and we're going to progress with carrying on putting these railings in place. These have an option of being up and down, and they're not railings as such, they're more netting in a framework, so they'll be painted slightly differently. We've got the radar unit to be painted black on the front face, because we painted the back ends first, and then we'll be moving, once all this is completed, we're moving to the bridge. Now this deck as it came in the kit had all the side works already moulded on, and I've cut them off so that I could get in to paint the deck the right colour, and make it easier to paint the front of the bridge section. So they're pre-painted, we're going to put those in place, hopefully not too much filling, touch them up, glaze them, and then we'll put this back in place where it was, and then we put a roof on, and then we will move forward, continue with the bridge area. So we've got some items to go on there, and the sea-to-air missile launchers to put on there, and then we are pretty much done with that bit, which leaves us just with the tower and the front railings, rear helicopter, back railings, flagstaff and flags. So we're nearly there on this. Once that's done, we're going to mount it on a seascape. Going to show it moving forward. We have the higher boat is out and launched. It's going to be heading back towards the ship. We're going to model some wash behind both of those, and then try and make that look nice and like real water. I have some a product we're going to use and see how that works. I've not used it before, so lots of stuff coming up. Let's see how far we get in the length of this video. Okay, so the next part is the etch netting that goes around the the 30mm gun deck. So on the Atlantic etch instructions, that's these three pieces here, and you can have them up or down. I might put them down on one side and up on the other. So we just need to remove those. There's two sections that are 3 long and one section that's 2 long at the front. So that's quite easy to identify. And I have it's worth mentioning this. So lots of people I see recommend using a number 11 blade for removing photo etch. I totally disagree. I could not more strongly disagree. If you use an item that has a sharp point, then the tendency is that you're going to drag to cut through the tab, and when you do that, you're much more likely to damage the photo etch. Particularly on things as delicate as ship's railings, you'll drag the railing bars and deform the part. So I actually have a tool that I've made for cutting away etch tabs, and it is a number 11 blade, but what I've done is I've squared off the end and then put an edge on it with my sharpening stone, and that gives me about a 1mm wide chisel point on the end of the blade, and then rather than cutting like that, I'm pressing down and cutting the tab in a stabbing motion. So we've now put the railings in around the gun emplacement. I'll just see if we can get a shot of that for you. There we go. So that is yet to be painted. You can see them there. I've painted. Oh, that's not strictly true. I've painted the metal part of the railings in the ghost grey that we've used for the rest of the ship, Humbrol ghost grey. The netting is yet to be painted, and I'm likely to do that
a natural deck tan type colour, because it's quite a pale hempy type colour, which they look like. Now when you look at reference photographs of Type 45 destroyers, one of the things that you regularly see is they have some form of safety line hanging on both sides, and I've put this one on this one. This isn't finished, and I'll talk you through that in a sec. But what they seem to do is have a line that continuously runs from this point here, where they can run out the ladders, to the boat hanger. Even when the shutters are down and this is closed up, there tends to be a line there, and I have seen one photograph where this line appeared to be attached to the HIAB as they were dropping the ship's boat down. So I'm guessing it's some form of safety line. If someone falls over, they can grab the line and make their way back to the ladders. I really don't know, but it's there. You regularly see it, so I wanted to emulate that, adds a bit of animation to the model. So this has been attached to the 2 points. I've not weighted it yet, and I've not trimmed up that end, but I just wanted to talk you through how we're going to do that. So we need to do the same on this side, where those 2 points are closed up. So we'll be attaching it to the outside effectively. So what I'm using some 0.25mm thread. This stuff's easy to get hold of. It's used quite widely by wooden model ship builders, something that I also do. So this has come from my stock. But you can get this this thread generally in a natural hemp colour, black and probably sometimes brown as well, because those are the 3 colours that wooden ship modelers would use for running rigging. It's the hemp colour. For standard rigging that's not moving, it's tarred, so that'd be black or brown if it's aged. So yeah, you can get this online. There's plenty of places you can get this stuff. And what we're going to do, the line in itself, as you can see, the thread is quite flexible, and you can see it's got kinks in it and all sorts of stuff. So to help us deal with that, and also to remove the, if I had Ron's macro camera lens, then I'd be able to show you, but thread can be a little bit fluffy. It can have little tufts sticking out, and they tend to catch the dust and bits and pieces like that, and it takes away the scale effect. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run the thread through a block of wax. So this is just a block of beeswax. Again, you can get it off places like eBay fairly easily. And all we do is put the thread on the wax, hold it in place with your thumb, and just drag it through. It's as simple as that, and it just needs 2 or 3 swipes. Make sure you do sort of both sides if you like. So that wax is going to do 2 things. It's going to add a little bit of weight to it, so that's going to allow us to manipulate it a little bit, and it's going to flatten down all those tufts and permanently keep them down. And as you can see, the process of just running it through the wax has already straightened it to a certain degree. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run the thread between my finger and my thumb and try and put a gentle curve in it. So it's a bit like straightening wire, but you can see there, that's how much stiffness we've added to it. I can now hold that up, it's not going to fall over, and just as a comparison, I can't really do that with that because it's naturally wanting to bow with the weight. So you can see we've added some stiffness, and then very simply going to use a small amount of quick setting medium glue, and we're going to it's CA glue. I'll show you the one I use. I'm using Deluxe's Rocket Rapid, so 1 to 5 seconds setting time. Tends to go off a bit slower as it gets older, but one of the things I like about that glue is you can use it all. You don't end up throwing half of it away because the cap got ruined, or it doesn't thicken up over time. So I really quite like the Deluxe glue range. So I'm simply going to place that first end where we want it, and then we'll let that dry, and then what we'll do is we'll cut the thread to length and put another blob of glue on, and we'll glue it in place. And then when that glue's dry and we're sure it's hard, we'll put a second piece of glue underneath and slightly weight the thread. So we can do something like just lean the tweezers on it or something, just to make sure that it's hanging against the side of the ship's hull correctly and isn't sticking out a little bit. So naturally the thread's going to want to push out, and we need to remove that and add some weight to it like the real thing. So I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then I'll show you what that looks like when it's finished. So there we have the flag in place, and you can see that really does make a difference to the look. It adds so much animation to your model. Okay, so we're moving on to tackling the assembly of the bridge area, and I've got the parts here ready to go. They need a little bit of clean up. Before I do that, I just want to clean the interior of the bridge area, because whilst the model's been sat around over the last few weeks while we're doing bits and pieces, inevitably there's some dust and specks that have settled in there. So the method I use for just clearing it is I use one of these little puffers. This one's called a Giottos. I think it's also known as the Rocket. But it's basically an air blower for your camera lenses. So I have this for my digital camera. So what we just do is gently blow, very soft bristled brush, drag that through, blowing as we go and making sure we've dislodged everything. And it's not too bad, but it just means that I'm not going to accidentally glue a massive hair or something into the joint. So that's nice and clear now. So this is going to go in first. This is the forward facing panel, and I'm not sure if you can see that in the light, but I have glazed one of them just to test it would work okay. So the product that I'm using for my glazing, if I just bear with me one sec, is micro crystal clear. It's basically a PVA type, and you can use it for repairing joints in clear parts and so on. And you'd be surprised how big you can go with this. You can use it as an adhesive. It says on the back here. Use it for small windows and for forming lenses, and it says up to 1/4 of an inch. So it's worked perfectly fine on that. So all the bridge windows will get done in the crystal clear. And what we'll do is we'll glaze them once we've got them in place. So the bridge area is very angled, as is the whole ship really. So I want to put this first one in place just as a reference for the others. And what we can see when we're fitting this is actually the fit isn't brilliant and there's a bit of play in there. So I'm going to have a look at improving that fit, get that glued in, and then I'll come back on camera. Okay, so I've had to change my tack with the bridge. Originally I was going to put the forward facing bulkhead in and then build towards the radon tower, and then I could adjust the pieces as I went along, was my thinking. But what I'm finding is each one of these parts has a location tab underneath, and it's been a theme throughout the entirety of this model build that the location tabs are so poorly formed that they actually prevent you from sitting the parts properly, and I've had to remove the tabs pretty much all the way through this build, and the bridge is no exception. So there's no way I can locate that properly with having removed the location tab. So I've had to build from the radon tower corner and build round. So actually the tab on the first part against the tower I was able to retain, which was helpful in getting the correct position, but it's the only tab that I could keep in place. So what we've done is sanded the bottom off, made sure that there's no paint on the contact surfaces and that everything's nice and clean. So just a flat emery board, just take off any paint that might be on there, and then we've gone round one at a time and glued them in place. So I'm not sure, see, this already doesn't look lined up. When I look at the hole for the tab and what remains of the tab at the back there, that's not quite aligned. So I think your best solution to building up the bridge, let me just bring this a bit closer for you. The best solution for building up the bridge is to start with that first part there with the door on that goes against the tower, and build round, and then I'm going to come in from the other side and do the same, and then the centerpiece will adjust to fit. I think it's the only way we're gonna get around that. And the alternative is to scratch make the parts, and I don't particularly want to do that. Okay, so we have now finished the bridge area. So the construction was a little tricky because of the poor fit of the parts. And then when we got to the roof, Airfix have a piece that slots in beneath the or within side of the side panels that we've put together, and that didn't fit either. It was too wide at one end and a little bit chunky, and it was going to take quite a bit of work to get that to sit in, and then I was going to have to do a lot of gap filling and sanding, and I decided that was going to be more time consuming than just simply replacing a part. So what we've done is we've used some white plastic card. I have used 0.3mm to do that, and that way I can flat face the whole thing. I don't have all that sanding and filling to do. So these two lumps, if you like, that mount aerials and a radar were taken off with a chisel, cleaned up at the back so that they're nice and flat, and then they were just glued in with some liquid poly after we'd sat this on the roof. So I've got to go around now and glaze it, and I've got a little bit of touch up to do in the ghost grey on the edges, and the edges of these bits with ghost grey as well, so that'll be a little bit tricky. But yeah, that is the bridge done, and in the right light, when you're looking through the windows and light passing through, you can see that there are people in there, and you can see that there's bridge equipment in there. So it's not easy to see, but I know it's there, and that's all that matters. It's my model. So I think that brings this video to an end. In the next video we'll be tackling some of the smaller detail that's going to go on the bridge area and so on, and we'll also be looking at the C2 air missile silo. I have more decals to put on, breakwater to do, so it's feeling like it's starting to come together, and it won't be too long, I don't think. Probably another couple of videos, and then we'll get to doing the seascape that we're going to place this in, because as you can see, I've gone for the waterline version. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying the videos, got any constructive comments or got any questions, please do comment below. I will read them and I will answer every comment. And if you've liked it, please subscribe. I have lots of other ship builds coming along, as well as some other bits and pieces. So please stay safe and take care, everyone, and hopefully I'll see you soon.